Everybody is so self-important when they get to those press conferences. So a nationally televised news conference, it just isn't an opportunity for the president-elect to get his message out. It's also a chance for reporters to prove their mettle. However, some could learn from that old-fashioned rule, less is more. Here's Major Garrett from CBS.
Mr. President-elect, I have a question about the Supreme Court and the border security, but I also want you to ask you about something you said on Twitter this morning. Are we living in Nazi Germany? What were you driving at there? Do you have a problem with the intelligence community? And on the Supreme Court, what's your timeline? You said a while ago you were down to 4. Have you conducted those interviews yet? What's your timeline for nominating? And on the border fence, it now appears clear U.S. taxpayers will have to pay for it up front. What is your plan to get Mexico to pay for it?
I got it. You have any more?
I mean, honestly.
Yeah.
Now, you've been a White House correspondent. You know what this is like. And it's like every person wants to be the most important, and they want to hit on all the 3 things so they'll preempt everybody else from getting that question.
I don't know in that case if he was trying to be important, but there is this sense when you go into these press conferences that it's been a while that you haven't been called on. You're hoping that they'll call on you. Sometimes you sit there the entire time and they don't. And you'll go through a number of them and they won't. So when you get that opportunity, you just roll in as many questions as you can. And it's not necessarily because you want to be the star of the show, but you want to be able to ask the president some important questions. And you know what? Maybe somebody else won't ask that question. So you have to do it.
I'm gonna give him some cover, Major Garrett, because he really covers Trump. So he knows that man and what his response is. So I took that to mean, I know what this is about. It's never coming around again. One of these he'll answer. He probably won't answer.
Exactly.
I know, because I cover him every day. Now, but also remember that Major Garrett was the one that asked the obnoxious question of President Obama that almost made him issue a cuss word, in front of us. So, he can be a little pushy. But in this case, I think it's because he knows the man that he's covering.
Yeah, but
I'm going
to
defend Major Garrett
as
well. He could have asked the question in Latin.
Oh, okay.
He did ask it in English. No, what bothers me about it is that not only do I think that he was trying to put himself in the limelight, I think he went into that knowing very well that Trump wasn't going to give a satisfactory answer to anything. So he just wanted to be, Major Garrett, am interested in these topics.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
I do not agree with that.
You got to throw as much out there that you can get one answer.
That's right.
And so this is your one shot. You may not get it again.
If you ask one question, you might get one answer.
Or you'll get nothing.
John,
next.
You've got this down to an art form. First of all, John Keller, if everybody doesn't know it out there in TV land, always gets the first question. When you're in the room, you get the question.
Not necessarily.
Yes, you do.
Not if Janet Wu
was go ahead.
This is true. This is true. Janet Wu will roll you over.
Major, it's the only person in the market with a voice louder than mine. Major Garrett's a real pro, but I think this is a problematic approach. Number one, you give the person you're questioning time to formulate an answer to your question and miss the opportunity if your question catches them off guard, which for politicians like this should be a goal of your question. Get them off their talking points. It gives them time to recover, so it's inadvisable. And there used to be a tradition at presidential press conferences where you'd ask a question and then you would get a follow-up.
Right.
So what happened to that?
Well, the first guy did get a follow-up.
Well, so maybe that's a better way of doing it. And the other thing is, I will say this about Trump, something nice or semi-nice about Donald Trump. I'm glad to see that he appears ready to discard the Obama-era tradition of having the questioners picked in advance. Yeah. Okay, we'll now go to Joe.
Randomly,
and at least let people with loud voices get in there and see if they can get his attention.
Yeah, that's true. He did. But Obama was always trying to make sure that he had a fair rotation.
That's right.
You're not going to take that many questions, and if 8 people had it the first time, you pick a different 8.
Oh, I think that was a little less altruistic than that.
No, and they balance it based on the medium. So it would be, we did the TV folks
radio,
last time, let's do radio next time.
Right.